Hello and welcome to this Minecraft tutorial with me, Gruva. Now today I'm going to show you how to build this 10 village iron farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is the ironing board. This is my personal design. I did a little showcase on it the other day. As you can see, we've got 10 golems just standing up here. I'll stand in the middle here and actually turn it on. So we're using Trident killers to actually kill the golems because we've got quite small spawning areas and kill speed is absolute paramount to this entire design. So we've got 10 separate villages. Each mini platform here is one village. As you can see, you're going to get golems in each one of them. So it takes a little bit of time to get going, but you get the idea. Just got 3 spawning in all at the same time there, which kind of proves that it's 10 separate villages and not just one village. And then there we go, there we go. Yeah, there we are. It's up and going. Right, so if I jump off here, I'll show you what I have got from 3 separate test runs. So this is literally 1 hour per test run, and what this command block is doing is teleporting the items that drop from the farm and just basically bugging them in this hopper. I haven't set up a collection system for this farm because frankly I don't really see the point of showing you guys how to make a collection system. This is just water streams. The drops are going to fall through these holes. You create a water stream to wherever you want. This is not complicated. Right. So each one of these double chests represents 1 separate hour of AFK time. So this was the first 1 hour test. This is the second 1 hour test. And this is the third 1 hour test. Now you're probably wondering how I organise a strict 1 hour test. This is what I'm using. Basically, game rule mob loot true, which means that the golems will drop ingots, and game rule mob loot false. And these are separated by 72,000 ticks, which if you calculate it out at 20 seconds or 20 ticks per second, that equals 1 hour. So when those 72,000 ticks are over, it'll change the game rule back over to false, which then means that none of these guys will drop anything. So that is how I've been given a strict 1 hour test to this farm. So I talked a little bit about this farm before in my showcase video. I might as well go over a couple of the features again. This is actually tileable, so you could add an extra village there, an extra village there, an extra village there, an extra village there, and you'll be up to 14, and so on and so forth. The key part of this is about where you AFK, because wherever you AFK, you want to be getting all of the villagers loaded in. Now the villagers are there, and over to there. The entire farm, including the spawning platforms, is currently 49 blocks by 49 blocks by 16 blocks ish. I think 16 blocks vertically. So you can stack another one of these below, but I'd probably separate it by a fair bit if I'm honest. You don't need to go right below this one, so you could maybe go 20 blocks below. And then same above. Now since the showcase video I added an on-off switch, and that is because these Trident killers, if they are going when you log off, it will break them. However, if they're turned off when you log off, it won't break them. So it needs an on-off switch. Very simple, not a big problem. Nice fast kill time as well. We're using Impaling 5 on each of the Tridents, and these guys are stood in water, so they're getting the maximum damage per golem. You could use lava on this, but it would actually slow the farm significantly. I have tried using lava. My first version of this farm actually had lava blades all the way down one length like that, so that all of the items would collect in one run, and it looked great, but the rates were around about a third less. We're using 10 villagers per village, which is the minimum really that you need to get a golem to spawn, which is why the Trident killers are absolutely paramount. Without the Trident killers, this will slow down significantly. Finally, I will be using a very special server mod called Trapdoor 2, which there'll be a link down below. And that actually helps me see a few of the things here that are going on. It's going to help me illustrate what's happening and how I'm doing this. So I'll give you an example of one of the things it helps me do, which you won't be able to do in normal Minecraft. If I do village list, if I can spell, then it shows me literally all of the villages that are in the game. So we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are all the ones that are being ticked. Okay, it gives me the location of the center first. And then it gives me the radius of the village, the number of points of interest, 10. Or the number of, well, villages really, I guess. the number of golems, and the number of beds. And then after that, we've got a couple of coordinates there, which I think is the outer corners of the village itself. The coordinates for which they work out the center, which is the first set of numbers. And it just shows all of the villages which are loaded. Right, before we move on to the rest of the tutorial here, I'm going to show you what you need to build in advance so you can make an educated decision about whether you're going to do this or not. Because this is a lot of build here, and this is mostly going to get torn down. So this is all the stuff that you're going to need to make this work. Now these tubes are going up to a villager breeder up on the top, which is 90 blocks above the villager pods down below. Right, now that you've resolved to build this farm, the very first thing that you need to do, and I know this sounds obvious, is you need to find a nice area where you've got lots of space. You need no villages around you for, a couple of hundred blocks. So this is perfect. No villages on the mushroom. Got lots of open area around us. Very simple. And the very, very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the North Pole, okay? And that is going to help me define which way is north when I'm building this farm. So we've got the sun coming up over there. The sun always comes up in the east and sets in the west. So that then means that this, the way that I'm facing here, is north. So that's north, east, south, west. Pretty simple. And all that I do is I'm going to do fill where I am. Well, this is what I'm going to do. You guys are going to have to build something. You just need to make a marker. Right, let's get this farm started. I'm not actually going to go through the exact block counts on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this clear picture from here, and you need to build this. Now, when I say you need to build this, what I mean is you need to replicate the various spots and points on it. So we've got 2 lines of blue. In fact, I'll give you one more angle. Pause if you need to. Rewind if you need to. There we go. And then one more angle. That's it. That's all 4 sides, and it should be quite clear what's going on here. So, what we've got is, we've got 3 different colours, or 4 different colours of block here. The green ones are where the village centres are going to land eventually. Okay, the blue ones are where we're going to place the village centres initially. And the orange ones are going to help us move the villages around. Okay, so all of these are like little way markers to what we're going to do. So we're going to pull in a village from up there somewhere, and it's going to come up here, and we're going to move it, boom, boom, and then we're going to settle it right there. And you're going to see how we settle it once we build all the rest of the stuff. Much easier to build everything first. Now the white blocks, or the white stained glass in this setup, is the blocks that are needed for me to get about, or where I'm going to place things, or where I'm going to walk. So these are like the absolute bare minimum blocks that you're going to need for this build. You don't have to build any of it out of stained glass. It can be out of whatever block you like, but do mark out all of these places and locations very, very carefully. Don't forget, pause, rewind, whatever you need to do this. Okay? Now, once you've got this all set up, we're going to stand on this blue block. Now this blue block is the one right in the middle at the front of the farm, heading west. Okay, and then from there we're going to go out 97 blocks in the x-axis in a negative direction. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to have to get the calculator and you're going to work it out. So we need to go back 97 blocks in that direction. So that's 458 minus 97 is going to be 51, 61, 361. I'm pretty sure that's right, 361. And just going to go straight out like this. Doop, 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 doop. And an extra 1 for luck. So this, oh no, that's 361. This block is the one that you want to switch over to that, okay? And that is going to help us get the villages moved in one by one. And then from here, we're going to go forward 48 blocks. So what's that, 409? 409. So I'm just doing maths on the fly here. So what we started off with there was 361 on the x-axis, and then we added 48 to that, and that's taken us to 409. We're now going to add 24 to that, and that's going to take us to 433. Right there. And then this next one is whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. So this is what you should now have, and what we're going to put in place is 3 villager pods, which are actually going to hold the permanent villagers. I say permanent for whilst we're building the villages. Once we've built the villages, they're dead, they're gone. But anyway, the point is we're going to build the villager pods. So let's go off over here, and we're going to count 16 from here, including this block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now we could actually trim this if we wanted to and, you know, make it much tighter, but, you know, we don't need to, it's fine. So we're going to go up by 3 blocks and leave the 1 block there, and then we're just going to create a very simple pod. Now, like I say, how you get the villagers into this pod, you only need 1. That's up to you. That's not a me problem, that's a you problem. But trust me, you just got to get 1 villager into there. It's not a big problem. Now on this one, which is the midpoint, so that's one around about 48 blocks from there, we're going to go up and do exactly the same again right here. And on top of there, we're going to place in just a simple pod. It doesn't need to be anything special. Just like that. Okay? And then on this one, we're going to count 16 blocks back from there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then we're going to go up and do the same again. Okay, we're just going to count back in the other direction as well, just to see how it looks. Now on this one, I'm going to place a slime on the bottom because the chances are I'm going to drop the villager in from above from the villager breeder. So we're going to have a villager breeder up on top. And we can just drop that one in. So I'll leave that a little bit longer to receive. Okay, and then we're going to count in this direction. And I am giving lots of padding in this counting because basically the villager counts from the northwest corner of the block that it stood on. So I know that I could go 1 further back with this and it'd still be able to see beds placed there without any problem. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Perfect. So now we're going to build the villager pods, which are going to actually house the villagers initially. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to count up like this. Now, we're going to have a bed there and a bed there, and the villager pod is going to sit just above the bed. So all that we need to do is build up a little cross like this, like that. Now, personally, I'm going to cap it off with the orange. And I'm going to do this as well, okay? Now, what is this? This is a cross on the cardinal directions, and they've got 1 extra right down here. This is a reminder to me that a fletching table needs to go there eventually. And this other stuff on top is kind of to cap it all off. So once we've got all the villagers in place, I just need to go like that. Covered, done. And it makes it easy for me to remember where to put the fletching tables eventually as well. Now, like I say, we're going to have beds right here. So that's going to sit really nicely. And as you can see, I placed it right over the top of the green spots. The green spots are where the village centres are going to be. So all that you need to do is replicate that 9 times. Now, the key factor here is I placed this, like this, on the southwest side. So that is using our North Pole, southwest, or southeast, sorry, southeast, over there, and that's all that you need. Now go away and replicate that 9 times, and we'll be getting somewhere. That is what you should now have. All of your villager pods have now been built, so let's move on to actually extending these up to where the breeder's going to be. Hello, this is Future Groover here, and past Groover apparently forgot to press the record button, so I'm here to tidy up their mess. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build up the tubes. Now, this is an example of one of the villager pods. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to replace that slime that we didn't show very clearly in the video, and that goes there so that you can always drop down and land on that in a safe way. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to build up these tubes by 90 blocks. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3. And you need to carry that on up 90 blocks above this orange stuff. And I would make it into a perfect tube like that. Okay, another thing that Past Groove forgot to show very clearly was the method for getting up and down to the top platform. So this is the kind of setup that I've got, which is going to help give easy access to the villager breeder on top. And all that you need to do is just build that up to the top level where we're going to build the villager breeder in a few moments. And I believe that I have one of my orange spots underneath here. It doesn't matter, you can just place a bed against that and it'll be fine. You don't have to worry because you just place the bed and then move on. Okay? And this is going to help you get access to the top of the build and get those villagers down to where they need to be in a few minutes. So now that you've got your easy access route sorted out and all of your tubes, you need to place a platform up here, and basically all the platform needs to house is a villager breeder. So make it as big as you want, but make sure that you can definitely reach all of the different pods here. So make it a minimum of something that's going to encapsulate up to there, and the same in the other direction. And then it's up to you what kind of design you use for your villager breeder. Now don't forget to place a wall around the edge, at least 2 high like that, otherwise you're going to get the villagers wandering off the edge if it's a free range one and dying. If you're not using a free range one, it doesn't matter. Use whatever space up here you need to make the villager breeder that you want. Right, now that you've created your platform and lit it haphazardly like me, you're going to need to extend up these holes right here. Now you're going to have to get your villagers into these holes somehow or another. Now, I'm going to show you a quick system which I came up with for this, and you know, you can use it or not, I don't know. So my personal method of getting my villagers in here is going to be something like this. If I do that and then one of those and then this, and then that goes off to wherever you're going, we'll put a button on there. We're going to power that directly because that'll make life easier, and then we're going to get this to sit on an angle like that. Then I'm going to fill in all of these spaces right here like this. So for the now, we're going to place a block right there, and I will demonstrate how this is going to work. We get a minecart and we place it there. We get a villager to jump on in. There we go, villager in. Now if I press that button, the villager should get deposited exactly where I want it, because there are no other locations for it to go to. Now further to this, I've been using this method, which is kind of fun. So I need a sticky piston, so we place a gold plate on top of a piece of glass right here. Then I'm going to place a solid block right there. I need to move that, and we're going to place a torch right there. Then we get a repeater to face into that. It's not absolutely paramount, but it certainly helps you along. And then we get some redstone, and we're going to count out 9 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. It's almost like I built it before. Now, what's going to happen with this is when I get a villager, not you, no nitwits, no babies in this thing, not allowed, they can't work, they're pointless. So at the moment I'm getting no redstone signal from that golden pressure plate. When I press the button, the villager pops in, and then I'm getting a reading of 1. And when I put in, no, not you, when I put in a second villager, I get a reading of 2. And so on and so forth, until I've got 9 in there, at which point it will power this repeater, which will retract this piston, which will then drop those villagers where I want them. So I'm only ever going to get 9 villagers into the pot where I want them. Right, and then on this one, it's going to go down. And you get to keep the pressure plate, which is a bonus. And the villagers vanish down below. Right, so now that we've actually got these tubes all set up however you wanted them, we're going to make a villager breeder. Now, my personal advice is control how your villagers breed. Don't just throw down 3 tons of food and let them get on with it, because there's going to come a point where you need to run out their inventories. You don't want them down at the bottom with full inventories and wanting to breed, because then you're going to end up with too many villagers. your golem farm is going to stop, because 75% of the villagers in the village need to work. If you've got 20 villagers and there's only 10 stations, then you've got problems. So make sure that you only make as many villagers as you need, and that they're not able to breed more at any point. Either that or make it super easy on yourself and just build a villager breeder that's going to produce clean inventory villagers. That's super easy on yourself, but your choice on what kind of villager breeder you've got up here. Right, now you're at this stage, we need to populate these 3 villager pods, okay? So let's get some villagers. It doesn't really matter how you do this, as long as you populate the 3 villager pods. This one's obviously connected up to the top because it's quite easy. The other 2, it's kind of up to you how you populate them, but I'm just going to use spawn eggs. Just like that. Doesn't matter what kind of villagers these are. They can be nitwits, they can be children, it doesn't matter. They are temporary, they're going to get killed. So, from here, you need to take note of the north and head over to the southeast corner. And we're going to get ourselves 1 villager from the top there. I'm going to cheat my way through all of this because I've already shown you how to get the villagers into the pods and down here. You just need to drop them on in. And I'm just going to use the eggs to make this simple for me. Right, 1 villager in there. So we've now got 4 villagers in place. Now our first 2 beds go down. So that is our first bed. This guy will see it but won't necessarily connect to it. So we'll give it a few seconds. Oh, did. That's good. Got sparkles. And then we're going to put a second bed down right there. This one is going to connect up to one of those 3 villagers. It doesn't really matter. And luckily it's gone to the one that I wanted it to. Right, we're now going to go over here. These guys might fight over those villagers, over those beds, but it doesn't matter even if they do. I'm going to place a bed right there. We're going to wait for the sparkles. It should take a few seconds. There we go. And then we're going to move forward. I'm going to place a bed right there. We'll see sparkles again on one of these 2 villagers, or on the bed. Being a little bit slow, but you know, that's how it is sometimes. Right, now we can go back and break that bed. Bang. Moving forward. Next marker. Right there. We'll wait until we see some sparkles on it. There we go, sparkles. So that's connected up to the back villager there. And then we move forward again. And the back row, we're going to go forward to this line and then move them across and in. So that's going to be the way that we do that. And we'll go through all of these. So you break in placing, break in placing, break in placing. There we go. Next. There we go, that one's now linked up. I'm actually going to cut this corner, mainly because I can. Not because I should, but because I can. Okay, that's now linked up. We're moving forward. Now we're going to follow each one of these in. There we go, sparkles. Now at this point I'm going to place a bed right there because the final bed that I want to place into position is right there. And I just want to inch this forward a little bit more. Right, so we had sparkles on that one, going to break that one, move that a little bit further forward. So now we know that the village centre is either on this one or this one. And it doesn't really matter which one it's on. Once we've seen sparkles on this, it'll all be good. And it should get there any second now. The problem is I've got a lot of villagers up there and that slows down the connection process. Anyway, we get the bed there. Nobody can occupy it because these 2 beds are occupied, these 2 beds are occupied. So when I bring in the villager from the top and drop it on down, it's going to connect up to that particular bed. Okay? So you see the sparkles, sparkles, break, break. That is a village now in place. Okay? And now we can repeat that. I'm going to repeat that and just go straight on forward. I'm going to stick to the markers because they're important. The corners you can usually cut, so you can go from there to there. Yeah, you can do that on all of the corners, to be fair. That point is always closer to this point than that point. And yeah, let's just do this. Right, on this one I'm going to move both beds parallel right here because I can, because I've got the space. It doesn't matter if the second bed went there, but it's nice to put it right there because then I know that the village centre is right up here and really kind of tight. Right, so now that we've got the village right up here, we're going to place in an extra bed right on the blue spot, which is where we want the village to be centered. And this time we're going to go up to the top and actually drop a villager all the way down just to show how that works. Right, so there's my villager. It's probably going to connect to a bed in a moment. Or maybe not. Let's just kill this guy. Give him a bed. Give him a bed, man. Right, there we go. He's linked to a bed over here somewhere. If I drop him down the chute, I'll close the trapdoor behind him. There we go, he's going. You can see sparkles already. That's a very big bounce, guy. So anyway, this guy is already connected to this spare bed, which places him squarely in this village. Now if I break that bed, you'll see the mad particles. If I replace it, then you'll get the green particles over his head. That means that he is definitely 100% in this village. Okay, break those beds and off we go again. Now again, because we're doing the back row, we're going to split off at this point and head in that direction. And then work forward in that direction to get to that village now. Now again, I'm going to place the bed right there, so I've got space to place the final bed. I'm going to wait for the sparkles, break, move, wait. I'm going to place that bed. And then I'm just going to cheat this one in because I've shown you the process. That one falls on in. Should link to that bed in a moment. As soon as you see sparkles, break, break. That's that village done. Now onto the final one of the back row here, which is going to be great. Waiting for the sparkles every time. Okay, there we go. That's my final bed into place there. I'm going to pop my villager into there. Wait for him to link to that bed and then break the other two beds. Right, that is the 5 villagers in the back row ready. So because I'm using trapdoor, I'm actually going to show you this just to show that it's definitely working. Village center true. Right, so we should see 5 sets of hearts. Whoops. Helps if I spell things right. There we go, we got all 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a nice row. And we did that completely blind, which is quite nice. So that's good. Right, now to move on to the front row. And again, we're going to work from the south to the north. Now, this time I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing, because as you can see, we haven't got the corner there, which we would have used on the first run, but we started the village there, and I'm going to show you how to deal with that. So we're going to go across here at the front this time. The 4 or the 5 villages at the front, we're going to use this bar to go across the way, not the back bar. Don't be tempted to use the back bar to go back and then forward. It will all fall to pieces, and it'll be very, very sad. Right, there we go. That's linked up now. Now we can move forward. So we're going to move forward down this line, and we're actually going to use that village end location to help us finally locate that village. Okay? You'll see what I mean in a moment. Now, without doubt, the nearest village to this location is this one. The village centre is either on there or there. It doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place in a bed right here. Bang. Okay. that one should go to that village, and when I drop my villager in here, he should connect up to that bed. Say should. Do it, please. Please, 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 please. Please don't embarrass me. There we go. So he's now connected up to that bed. I'm not seeing any extra sparkles. So let's get rid of that one, get rid of that one. That's my first village on this row located. Okay, and the reason that we did it like that was because that villager can't see this far. And neither can that villager or that villager. But now that I've got the first villager in place on this row, he's going to help us get these extra pods all finished. And I'm just going to deal with this arachnopod. There we go. So, let's pull in more villagers. Right, so again I'm placing the beds next to each other there to sort of make sure that the village centre is on one of these two pillows. I'm going to wait for the sparkles. And we wait for the sparkles. Right, there we go. That is our next bed. I'm going to place my villager in there and we're going to kill him straight away because he's useless. Right, then we're going to wait for the sparkles. Boom, boom. Done. Village in place. Next. Right, now we're ready for our next one. Pop him in there. Sparkles straight away. Can't go wrong. Excellent. Next. Excellent, and a villager down from the top into there. Sparkles, done. Right, final village. Dead easy. Like you saw there, I misplaced the bed. Don't worry about breaking a misplaced bed, even if it has been connected. Just step back and then you can move forward with confidence. Right, and then the final bed, we place it there, we get our villager down from the top. Oh no, we're going to kill him. And you see the sparkles? The sparkles went to the wrong bed, which is very interesting. So I'm going to break that one and see which one it goes to next. It went to the correct one. So when I break this one, I should see no angry particles over it, and everything should be fine and lovely. Yes, it is. Okay, that is my 10 villages in place. Now, because I'm using trapdoor, I can actually verify that, so I'm just going to show you real quick. We've got hearts over each one of those beds, which means there's a village in each of those locations. It's all good, and we did that completely blind. Now, these two villages are completely done with. We don't need to bring in any more villages. So we're going to kill those two, and then this one we're going to leave for a second or two, because we've got this little mess over here. So that guy is linked to one of these beds, and we don't know which. So if I break that bed and I see angry particles there, it means that he is linked to that bed. So I'm going to place a bed right there for this guy. And then I'm going to break that bed and place that bed right there. So that should link back up to that guy eventually. So slow. There we go. and then I can break that bed to get the angry particles and place it back there, which now means that that one is connected to that bed when it gets sparkles, and that one's connected to that bed. And then we can kill that villager in this order, kill that villager, and break that bed, which now means that the villagers which are next to the beds are linked to those specific villages, and there are no extra villagers around connected to any of the villages. Right, so now that we've got the 10 villages in place, we need to bulk out the villages with more villagers and more beds. So we need to place in 9 temporary beds. So we've already got 1 bed right there, and it just means that we need to get an extra 9 beds in place. Very, very simple. I would personally advise placing the beds exactly as I have there, because if you go too close to this, these guys can jump out and jump in the beds, and then you kind of got small problems. Not big problems, small problems, but problems nevertheless. So we've now got 10 village or beds down there with 1 villager, and all those beds are connected to that 1 village. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top here, and we're going to get ourselves ready to drop in a number of extra villagers. So this guy looks okay. So the system that I've got set up here is the gold pressure plate on top of a block, which is held by a sticky piston. The sticky piston's been extended by a redstone torch on the back of a solid block, repeater, and then you've got 9 redstone. So every single villager that lands on here is going to add 1 to the redstone strength, and eventually it gets to 9, and then it's going to retract the piston, the villagers drop down, and that's as simple as it gets, really. So really the difficult bit is getting your villagers into the minecart, the ones that you want, that is. So, yep, you can go. No, you can't. You can't. Too small to ride this ride. You don't really need to keep a count on this, because it's self-regulated. I know now that I've got 4 villagers in there because of this. It's powered up to 4. So I'm just putting these in as if I was pushing them in from up here or grabbing them from off the platform. But you get the idea. If it weren't for me just creating the villagers, I would be pushing them into this minecart, and they'll be landing in there. Wow, lots of babies, lots of nitwits. Oh, we got 1 more? Yeah, 1 more. Right, in you go. See that? And I get the gold pressure plate back. Beautiful. Now we'll go back down to the bottom here, or use your access chute which we built earlier, and we've now got 10 villagers in this area. All 10 of those villagers are associated to this village and these beds. Now, if I tried to do this without the beds in place, the villagers would just attribute to all sorts of things. It gets silly. It's like whatever the first bed is that they see, or the first village that they see, they jump into. But if there is bed space, they will jump into those bed spaces, okay? So like I said, these were just temporary beds. We're going to remove all of them. And we're going to go over to this side now and build this up properly. So that's the shape that you want to be building up here. We're going to place on a temporary bed there. That's going to get linked to. Now, that bed could have the villager leader attached to it, or that bed could already have the villager leader attached to it. We don't know. So we then place down a 3rd bed, and this is going to attach to definitely not the villager leader. Absolutely can't be. So we get rid of that bed, and now the villager leader doesn't have a bed, so when we place that bed there, the villager leader is going to attach to that bed. And the village centre is going to be right there, right on this bed. We can, in fact, I'll show you in a moment. We've got so much confidence in this, we're going to lay out all the rest of the beds in this area. There we go, that's 10 beds for 10 villagers. Job done. Now, I'm going to show you where the village centre is by using the village centre true thing, which I'm using on trapdoor. And I've got a heart right over the red bed, which is exactly where I expected it to be. I'm going to relog to prove that it doesn't move around. It's totally solid and fixed. I would restart the server, but that takes a little bit of time, and you're not going to gain anything from it. The only time that you might have to reorganize where the village center is for this is if you have an update, a version update. Now what I would then do is I would go ahead and break every bed except for one. Probably this bed. And then start the process again, like we just did. You place one bed, it might be the villager leader on that bed, it might be the villager leader on that bed. Place a third bed, which you know that the village leader is not going to be on. Break the previous two beds, and then place a bed back here to get the village centered properly, and then just place out the rest of the beds. Now those 10 villagers are now completely locked down onto that spot. The next step of making this work is to give each one of these guys a workstation. Now I'm going to use fletching tables because, I don't know, they're quite nice. You can click on them, they don't interact, they're just kind of convenient. So anyway, I've placed the fletching table right there. Nobody can reach it. We're going to have to place in a couple of pistons like this. Break that one, place that there, can break that one back, and then push like that. Break the slime, break your piston, break your redstone, okay? So now that one has been linked to, all that we need to do is break or place these one at a time. Now, what we've done is we've done like the standard cross formation there, but we're going to add one on the lower block on the southeast corner. Now, believe it or not, the villagers can reach that workstation, they can work it. If you placed it here, they might be able to work it, but there's no guarantee. And sort of similarly on that side, but weirdly on this side, they can't reach it. It's a whole range of things, but this one is the one which they can definitely reach that's on the diagonal, on the southeast corner. Okay, so that is one set of villagers all set up. We can essentially close this one off now. And if you feel so inclined, you can delete all of this that you want. We're done with that one. All that we've got to do is come back a little bit later and add more beds. So now we've just got to repeat exactly the same process on the next pod. So we need to lay out 9 spare beds. Don't worry, we'll go through this together first for this one again, so you get the full picture. And then we go up top. Right, and then we can drop this into the second tube. As you might have noticed, we're actually working north to south on this one. It shouldn't really matter that much, but I found that one to be the most stable. So if I open that up, that should drop in 9 villagers into this village. They should connect to the beds that are already there. Then we can start doing the whole process of moving the villager leader around, and then we'll verify that everything's working after we've done this. So assuming that I've got a whole 10 villagers in there now, we'll just do what we did there before. Break these beds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. I'm going to need that, so it needs to go back. Build this back up in this way. Place out one bed. Might take the village leader. I mean, we've got the hearts on now, so you should be able to see it. And then I put another bed. Well, that one's definitely not going to take the villager leader. Then I can break, and then I can place in my villager leader based bed. And you saw the center move then. Now, beds. Back onto the fletching table part. So I don't think I made it clear last time exactly which blocks I was placing the fletching tables on, but I'm placing it on the cardinal directions from where the villagers are stood, and I'm placing them at foot level and at head level. And then one on the southeast corner, just like that. And I've got all that covered in glass, and boop, 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 boop. Boop. Right, now we've gone ahead and built up all of the villages to have 10 beds and 10 villagers and 10 workstations. We can basically go ahead and get rid of that and all of this junk above it as well. So everything up to there and the villagers up there as well can die. Right, that is what we now have. So we've filled up all of the villages. We could go ahead and place the rest of the beds in them if we wanted, but I'm actually going to get the golem spawning areas sorted first. So we're going to come over to this middle line right here, and we're going to find the center spot. The center spot is the midpoint between the two green spots here, which is actually 9 blocks away. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm saying that, and we're going to count it back from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is the center block. And then we're going to go up by 9 blocks as well. So this is like the rule of 9s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And then these ones can go. Now we have worked out exactly where our middle block is going to be. We can start working out in this direction and start building up a little bit of a line here. We'll start counting it out in a moment. Okay, so this is all going to be about counting in multiples of 8. So from here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then from there, that lines up with there perfectly. We're just going to mark off like that because that is where one of the spawn platforms is going to be. And then coming back to the middle here, we'll do the same again. Is that the middle line? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can do that there and there. Now the gap between those 2 points should be 15 blocks now because we've overlapped the 8s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. Now we can do the same here, and realistically we're going to be counting 16 from this block and then we go across. So I'll show you what I mean. And then boom bada boom. And then we can sort of mark this up again like that. Okay, and we'll do the same going out this way. Bang, bang. And then we can double that up because this is actually going to form the walls of your golem spawning area. Now from here we're going to go 6 across, so that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, and then going back in that direction. Okay, so we've got our golem spawning area, which is going to go 1 below here, which is actually going to just sit within there. So we've got a 6 wide area by a 15 wide area. Now that we've got the rough shape of it, we can actually just link everything up. So it doesn't take too much. Once we've got the corners things worked out, okay, so that's 1/2, and then we do the same in the opposite direction. So that is what you should now have. You've got 15 by 6 areas. All of these little pods are going to hold village centres. Now, we're going to find this middle line again, and we're going to go out by 10. So, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right there. And then from there, we're going to go across. In fact, we can do this a reasonably simple way. So we've got this middle line, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. And then we start working it. So we've got 2 villages next to each other, so we can just remember that number 16 again. And then turn a corner. And then we can do that 7 again, and then start working in that direction. So again, we've got a 6 by 15, and we can do the same this way. And then link it all back up. Actually, I've missed a line there. Let's recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I started count on the wrong bit. You've got to count twice, cut once. Isn't that how it goes, the saying? You don't really need these connecting pieces anymore. They can go. And then we can connect this up. Right, and now doing the same in the other direction. We've found our centre line. We're going to go out by 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then doing the whole thing again. I'll go straight across. I'll place one there, so I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go, that is the iron golem spawning areas marked out. Now we're going to need to go underneath there, and I'm just going to go like that. And we need to fill in everything in between at this level, at this very, very specific level. All of these measurements are important, guys. Follow every single measurement, because if you don't, it's probably not going to work. Right, so this is one of them organised. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put the water in, and then you guys can go away and do all of the rest of them. You want water in all of the corners. It should see a little 1x2 break there, I'm actually going to put in the Trident killers as well. So on the inside of the farm, when I say the inside of the farm, I mean the bit towards the centre, we're going to place a solid block right there. Then I'm going to come around this side and do a little shape like that, and then like that, okay? And then from there, I'm going to place glass there, and then, oops, a temporary one there, and then a solid block there. So this is the configuration. You've got this little shape, and I'm using solid blocks and non-solid blocks strategically. Yeah, just let's have a little think about this. You could make all of this out of solid blocks. It's not going to make a big difference. But make sure that you definitely have solid blocks in these locations where I'm pointing. So as you can see, I didn't even mention it, but I knocked out the 2 middle blocks, and that's just going to let the items flow down. We're placing a tripwire hook there, and we're going to connect it up with string. So that's going to create a power output when something's in it. We're going to place a comparator there and make sure it's on subtract. Then redstone, 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 like that. And then at the bottom of this solid block, we're going to have the trapdoor. And on the underside of the trapdoor, we're going to place our iron bar. And then finally, we're going to get our enchanted Trident killer, or Trident, and we're going to just throw it at approximately the middle of that block, okay? So that means that when something's in the tripwire, the Trident killer's running. When there's nothing in the tripwire, it's not running. Very, very simple. And now, you need to go and repeat that 9 more times, once for each of them, and we'll have a look at what you've got in a few minutes. Right, there we go. That is the 10 Trident killers all set up now. As you can see down below, I kind of did a little bit of extra work just to make sure that the drowns just drop straight through, and any cats that spawn drop through. And you see, look at that. When you look, you see the things that you forgot. Don't forget that iron bar is super, super important. Okay, yeah, they're all done. Okay, so now we can actually start adding in more doors. And it doesn't particularly matter where you start with this. It's very, very simple. Oh, not doors. Jeez, I'm thinking indoors. It's been a long time, guys. This has been a big tutorial. But we can start adding in more beds. That's right. So this will start actually spawning golems as soon as I lay down the 20th bed, which is this one. I think the thing you got to remember here is it can take a little while for a golem to actually turn up. And because of the size of the spawn pad here, there is going to be missed opportunities by the golems, so we're not always going to get golems. So let's go ahead and fill in the rest of the beds. There we go, there's a golem. I just thought I'd have a quick look. Beautiful. So we've got 1, 2, 3 villages done. Yeah, okay. Like I say, it doesn't matter what order you do these in. Just make sure you keep a vague idea of where you have got to and where you haven't. Right, that is the whole thing working now. We've got all 10 villages working, but you're going to need an off switch for the Trident killers. And the only reason you want the off switch for the Trident killers is because if you go away and the Trident killer is running, it's going to break the Trident killer. It doesn't mean it's not relog proof, it means it has to be switched off when you leave the farm. Okay, so to do that, we're going to place a solid block right here. In fact, we'll place it right here. That's slightly easier for me to deal with a redstone torch on the front and a pressure plate on the top. So that's the kind of setup that you've got. I'm then going to run redstone straight down here, and we're going to stop right there. We're going to have a solid block and then a repeater in between, and then put a slab on top of them. Okay, this is going to help us move some of the power out to the sides like this. And then we're going to step down here, and we're going to place a repeater right there, and then just run the power into that. That will lock that comparator, which will mean that that will not run. And then we can do the same on the other side. Like that. So that's 2 of them switched off now. Then we can come back in this direction and do exactly the same to catch this one. from the same redstone line. There we go. And then coming over here. Now what you can see is I've placed the redstone on this side. It doesn't actually matter, just move it on over. It's the easiest thing in the world to adjust that to make this workable. So place that like that, and then we've got a repeater going in there, and redstone going like that. That's 4 of them switched off. Perfect. Right, on to the next ones. We're going to carry on down the middle line here, and we're actually going to do the same thing that we did over in that direction, which is placing a repeater in between 2 blocks, slabs on top, and that's going to make sure that we get a solid power coming out in this direction. And this direction again, and then we just step it down, run it along, straight into there, more redstone, done. And same over here, done. Right, that's 6 of them switched off. So now we've got to work out how to get the power over to that side to do the same over there. Right, from here it's actually going to be easier just to run a line in this direction, and we'll just split it off there, see how far it gets. Yeah, okay, that's just enough, which is perfect. We can do this again, and we place a repeater right there. Slabs on top of that. You don't want anything spawning on top of your iron blocks there, by the way. So do make sure that you have tidied that up. This one we're going to switch over to the other side, just like we've done elsewhere. Going to put the repeater in there, and then like that. Okay. Now switching in this direction, same thing. We're going to have the repeater there, redstone line running in like that. Perfect. That's 8 of them turned off. Now just to do exactly the same on this side. And there we have it, that is the off switch successfully installed. We have successfully built a 10 village iron farm. And what you'll find is that all of these pods, when things are turned off, will get a golem just sitting in it, ready and waiting. So that's a good way to actually help verify if everything's working. Now the thing that you've got to work out for yourselves, which I'm not going to do, is your own collection system. Personally, I would just have a water stream. I would just collect the stuff. Everything's close enough. Work it out. It's easy. But there you go. That is your 10 golems. That is it working. You're ready to AFK now and get all the iron that you need. A whole double chest every hour, which is awesome. Right, one final word is you can, if you want, remove all of this extra like glass and things up here and all over the place if you wish. Personally, I'm going to leave it in for now because it's just useful for me if something goes wrong and I need to pull a village back in for whatever reason. Like somebody comes along and breaks a bed and says, what does this do? It happens to be some very important beds or lightning or whatever. So there you go. That is it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Of course, if you did, please do leave a like. And if you want to see some more, drop me a subscribe. And I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.